I caught my wife cheating on a Thursday, and somehow that still wasn't the craziest part. The craziest part was what she said after. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "It didn't mean anything." No. She looked me in my face, still breathing hard, still fixing her shirt, and said maybe we should rethink what marriage means. Yeah, that's how she said it. Like she was pitching a business idea. So before I get into all this, do me a favor and hit subscribe, because if you think this story starts wild, trust me, the ending is worse. Well, better for me, worse for her. My name's Darius. I'm 34, born and raised in Prince George's County, Maryland, and until last year, I thought I had a solid life. I had a decent job managing logistics for a medical supplier outside D.C., a clean townhouse in Bowie, and a wife I'd been with for 8 years. Her name was Camille. Everybody loved Camille. My mother called her polished. My boys called her too perfect. I used to laugh that off. I thought they were just hating because she always looked put together, always had the right words, always knew how to make herself look innocent. Yeah, innocent. Camille worked in event marketing in downtown Baltimore, and she was the kind of woman people noticed when she entered a room. Not because she was loud. She wasn't. It was more like she knew exactly how to hold attention without begging for it. They used to make me proud. Later, it made me nervous. The change started small. Late nights at client dinners. A new passcode on her phone. Perfume she only wore on weekdays. Then one night, I hugged her from behind in the kitchen and smelled cologne on her neck. Not mine. I remember freezing and smiling anyway. That's how denial works. Now here's where I need y'all to be honest in the comments. When you first suspect something, do you confront it right away? Or do you collect proof? Me, I told myself I was being mature. Rational. I said I needed facts. But really? I was scared. Scared of being right. Scared of looking stupid. Scared that the life I'd been defending to everybody else was already gone. So I started watching. Nothing creepy, just noticing. Patterns. Lies. Little timing gaps. And every time I got close to asking a direct question, Camille would smile, touch my arm, and ask why I seemed distant. That part almost broke me. 2 weeks later, she told me she had to attend a branding retreat in Annapolis and might stay overnight. The story sounded normal enough, except she packed like she was going on a date, not a work trip. Black dress, gold hoops, heels she once said were too dangerous for networking events. Around 6 that evening, I called to ask if she wanted me to feed the dog before I went to my brother's place. She sent me straight to voicemail. 10 minutes later, I got a text. Can't talk. Panel starting. But the thing was, I heard music in the background. Slow music. Hotel bar music. I wish I could tell you I knew for sure in that moment, but I didn't. I still fought for her in my own mind. Maybe the retreat had a mixer. Maybe the panel ended early. Maybe I was becoming paranoid. But around 9:30, my brother Terrence called and said something that changed everything. He was downtown near the Inner Harbor, picking up food, and thought he saw Camille outside a restaurant. With a man. Not co-workers walking close. Hand on her lower back close. I laughed when he said it. Actually laughed. Then I asked what restaurant. He told me. And without thinking, I got in my car. I drove from Bowie to Baltimore with my chest on fire. The whole ride, I kept telling myself not to be dramatic, not to become one of those dudes shouting in parking lots with a phone in his hand. But when I got there, I saw her car first. That calm little silver Lexus I had helped her buy. Parked in valet. I sat across the street, gripping the wheel, so hard my fingers cramped. Then I saw them through the window. Camille and some tall dude in a navy jacket, leaning toward each other like the rest of the world had dissolved. And then she kissed him. I didn't storm in. That's the part everybody expects, right? Big public blow-up, drinks flying, somebody getting recorded for TikTok. No, I waited. I watched them leave. I watched him open the passenger door for her. And I watched her smile, that soft, private smile I thought belonged to me. My first instinct was to follow them, but something in me said no. Go home. Make her come back to the life she's been playing in. So I beat her there, sat in the dark living room, and waited. And if you're still here, subscribe, because this is where the story takes a hard left. Camille came in at 11:47 p.m., kicked off her heels, and nearly screamed when I turned on the lamp. She clutched her chest like I'd scared her, but the fear on her face changed fast. She knew. I didn't ask where she'd been. I asked who he was. She stared at me for maybe 5 seconds, long enough to realize the lie wouldn't fit. Then she did something I still can't believe. She sat down across from me, folded her hands, and said, "Darius, maybe this is the moment we finally be honest about what we both need." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "An open marriage." That word hit me harder than the cheating did. Not because I didn't understand it, but because of how calmly she used it. Like my pain was an overdue conversation. Like betrayal was just a communication issue. I remember saying, "You mean after lying to me, you want permission?" She sighed, and said monogamy had been feeling restrictive for a while. Restrictive. That was the word. I actually looked behind me like maybe she was talking to somebody else. Then she said the man's name was Julian and that it just happened, but maybe what happened revealed something deeper. Man deeper? I almost laughed. I asked her one simple question. Did you cheat first, then decide you wanted honesty? She didn't answer right away, and that was answer enough. Then came discovery number one. She told me this wasn't the first time she'd thought about it. She'd been reading forums, listening to podcasts, following creators who talked about modern love structures. That's how she said it. Modern love structures. I swear, I almost said one to TED Talk, but I stopped myself. She made it sound enlightened, clean, progressive. But all I could hear was that she had done the dirt first and was now looking for cleaner packaging afterward. I should have thrown her out that night. My father would have. My older cousins definitely would have. But I was too angry to move fast, and sometimes that ends up saving you. Because when you don't react immediately, people show more of themselves. Camille mistook my silence for weakness and kept talking. She said she loved me, still wanted our home, still valued our partnership, but didn't believe one person could meet every emotional need forever. Y'all hear that? Emotional need, not accountability, not vows, need. Then she said, "I don't want to lose what we built." That line mattered later, more than she knew. A lot more. I went upstairs, sat on the edge of our bed, and stared at the wall for maybe an hour. She didn't follow me. She gave me space because she thought space made her look respectful. Around 1 a.m, I started replaying the last year in my head, and little things snapped into place. The sudden gym membership, the way she stopped posting us online, the nights she claimed she was too tired to talk but stayed awake texting. Then another thought hit me so hard I had to stand up. If she was bold enough to propose this now, maybe she'd been planning the exit strategy longer than I knew. The next morning, she made coffee and acted almost relieved, like the secret being out was somehow progress. She asked if we could talk after work. I said, "No, let's talk now." I looked right at her and said, "I'll agree to the open marriage." Her eyebrows jumped so fast, it almost made me smile. Then I added, with one condition. She leaned in. This is important, because this was the moment she thought she'd won. She thought I was weak, desperate, scared to lose her. But my condition was not what she expected. And hers, well, hers would unravel everything she built. I told Camille if she wanted an open marriage, then everything had to be truly open. Total transparency. Phones, finances, schedules, emails if needed. No secret emotional relationships. No shared marital money used on outside partners. And most importantly, if either of us felt the marriage was already dead, we would start legal separation immediately. No pretending, no image management, no using each other for convenience. She blinked twice and said that sounded a little extreme. I said, "No, what's extreme is cheating first and calling it evolution." She got quiet after that. Then, after a long pause, she said yes. That's when my real work began. For the next week, I acted calmer than I felt. That part was hard. Real hard. I let her think I was processing, adjusting, being mature. But behind the scenes, I followed my own condition like a contract. I reviewed our bank statements. I checked our shared credit card history. I looked at the calendar sync she barely used. And what I found was discovery number 2. Julian wasn't the only man. He was just the current one. There had been hotel charges going back 7 months. Restaurant tabs in D.C., Arlington, National Harbor. Gifts bought from boutiques Camille never shopped at for herself. My stomach dropped. Now, before anybody asks, no, I didn't go hunting every man down. That wasn't the point. The point was understanding the full lie. And once I saw the money trail, the whole marriage started looking different. She wasn't trapped. She wasn't confused. She had been running a parallel life while I covered the mortgage, the insurance, the dog's vet bills, and half the little luxuries she posted like she earned them effortlessly. Then I found discovery number 3. Camille had quietly moved part of her paycheck into a separate account months earlier. Not illegal, not even unusual, but paired with everything else, it screamed premeditation. That night, I asked casually whether there had ever been anyone besides Julian. She took maybe half a second too long and said no. Just Julian. I nodded like I believed her. Then I asked if she had any separate accounts I should know about since we were being fully open. She smiled, and this smile right here? This was the one that finished us. She said, "Darius, come on, don't be paranoid." Paranoid? Why, I tell you, that word flipped a switch in me. I mean it. I stopped trying to save dignity for both of us. From that moment on, I was documenting everything. My cousin Alonzo is a family law attorney in D.C., and before y'all jump in the comments, no, he didn't do anything shady. He just told me exactly how not to get played. Keep records. Don't leave the house impulsively. Don't make threats. Don't hide money. Don't start a new relationship out of revenge. Let the facts breathe. That advice probably saved me thousands. So while Camille thought we were experimenting with some trendy arrangement she didn't even fully believe in, I was quietly building a timeline. Dates, transactions, text screenshots she'd voluntarily shown under our transparency rule. Man, she really agreed to the condition too easily. Then came discovery number 4, and this one changed the emotional temperature completely. I found messages between Camille and her best friend, Renee. Not through snooping some secret app. Through a sync tablet Camille handed me herself while trying to prove she had nothing else to hide. In those messages, Camille admitted she never expected me to agree. She thought I'd either beg, explode, or leave. Her exact words were, "If he agrees, I can buy time until after the refinance." Refinance. Y'all hear me? The open marriage wasn't freedom. It was a stalling tactic. She wanted my income stable while she planned her cleaner exit. That broke something permanent in me. I didn't confront her immediately because by then I understood something ugly but useful. Every extra day, she thought she was in control. She revealed more. We went to a cookout at her aunt's house that weekend, and Camille acted like nothing had happened. She laughed, held my arm, made me a plate, even corrected somebody who joked that married people stop flirting. "Not us," she said. I almost choked on my drink. Then her aunt, Miss Carla, asked when we were finally buying a bigger place for kids. Camille squeezed my hand and said soon. Soon? We hadn't discussed children seriously in almost a year. Driving home, I asked why she told her aunt that. Camille shrugged and said families didn't need our private complexities. Private complexities. She had a gift for elegant nonsense. That was discovery number 5, not a fact, but a realization. Camille didn't just lie when cornered. She curated reality in real time, depending on the audience. To me, she was enlightened and evolving. To her family, she was committed and future-focused. To Julian, I later found out she was practically separated already. 3 different storylines, all starring her as the misunderstood woman at the center. And me? I was just the supporting actor funding the production. So I made my decision. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cheat back. I wasn't going to expose her online like a fool chasing temporary applause. My condition had already given me everything I needed. Access, documentation, truth. I met with Alonzo again, filed the paperwork, and prepared to separate our finances the legal way. Then I did one more thing, and this is where the title comes full circle. I invited Camille to dinner at the same restaurant where I first saw her with Julian. She thought it meant I was finally ready to redefine things together. Yeah, no. She got dressed like it was a date, and for a second, I almost pitted her. Almost. We sat down, ordered appetizers, and she started talking about how hard the last few weeks had been, how she appreciated my willingness to grow, how unusual men like me were. Grow? Lady, I wasn't growing. I was waking up. I let her talk. Let her build the little speech in her head. Then when the entrees came, I slid an envelope across the table and said, I agreed to the open marriage with one condition: total honesty. You broke that condition every day. So this is the end. Her face changed instantly. At first she thought it was a bluff. Then she opened the envelope and saw the separation papers. Not divorce papers yet. Separation. Clean. Strategic. Documented. And attached behind them was a summary Alonzo helped me prepare. Undisclosed accounts. Contradictory statements. Misuse of marital trust. Intent to delay disclosure until refinance. Not drama. Facts. Camille looked up at me like I had become a stranger. Then she whispered, "You've been planning this?" I said no. "You were planning something." I finally caught up. She started crying right there, quiet at first, then real tears when she realized I wasn't negotiating. That was the first honest thing I'd seen from her in months. She said I was humiliating her. In public. In the same place. I told her no. I was ending things where they truly began for me. The night I watched my marriage through a window like a stranger. She reached for my hand, and I moved it back. Then she played her last card. She said Julian didn't matter. She said none of the other men mattered either. Yeah, she admitted that without me even asking. She said I was the real home, the real partner, the real future. And that's when I finally understood the cruelest truth of all. She hadn't risked me because she didn't value me. She risked me because she assumed I'd stay. Listen closely, because this is the lesson I wish somebody had drilled into my head years ago. Some people don't betray you because they're stronger than you, smarter than you, or better than you. They betray you because they've mistaken your loyalty for a lack of options. Camille thought I was too stable to leave, too decent to expose lies with facts, too invested to walk away from the house, the image, the years. She didn't understand that calm men break too. We just don't always break loudly. Sometimes we break into clarity. And if that line hit, subscribe, because I'm telling y'all, clarity saved my life. The fallout came fast. Once separation started, Camille's private little architecture collapsed. Julian, apparently, did not want a woman in active legal turmoil. Shocking, I know. Her family found out because she needed somewhere to stay after I bought out her portion through the agreement process. And here's the part that still gets me. She tried to tell them we had grown apart. But truth has a way of leaking. Renee, the same friend who helped her strategize, got mad after they fell out and told Miss Carla more than she meant to. Suddenly Camille had no polished language left. Just consequences. Ordinary, boring, devastating consequences. A few months later, I saw Camille at a grocery store in Largo. No dramatic music. No movie moment. She looked tired, older somehow, like keeping 3 versions of yourself alive finally costs interest. She asked how I'd been. I told her good. And I was. I had lost weight, started sleeping again, reconnected with people I'd pushed aside, trying to protect a marriage that was already bleeding out. Then she asked the question I think she'd been carrying for months. Did you ever really agree to the open marriage? I looked at her and said, no. I agreed to the condition. You just didn't understand what that meant. So that's the story of how my wife cheated, asked for an open marriage, and got exactly what she asked for. Openness. Just not the kind she wanted. She wanted permission without consequence, freedom without sacrifice, options without losing security. Instead, she got transparency, receipts, legal separation, and the one thing she never thought I'd choose, myself. And no, I didn't ruin her life. I didn't have to. I just stopped protecting the lie that made her comfortable. Sometimes the harshest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's letting truth do its job. Let me know in the comments. Would you have left immediately or done exactly what I did?